Tonight on News Channel 2 Weekend, at least 7 people are dead after a gunman opened fire at a worship center in Wisconsin. Also, new information on a fatal car versus pedestrian accident in Rome, what the victim's nephew says happened.
From Central New York's most experienced news team, where the news comes first, this is News Channel 2 Weekend.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Nicole Hart. We will get to those stories and more in just a minute, but first we want to get right over to meteorologist Jill Reel, who has been tracking some severe weather for us. Jill, what's the latest?
Good evening, Nicole. We are watching one severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for southern Otsego, southern Shenango into Delaware counties. The rest of the viewing area, we still have a severe thunderstorm watch for Oneida, Madison, and Lewis counties. As we take a look at our Storm Tracker 2 live radar, we're going to zoom in on that severe thunderstorm. Now, that severe thunderstorm warning is until 7 p.m., and it is traveling to the north and to the east at about 50 miles per hour. Now, this thunderstorm will be near Oneonta at 6:26, Skenevis at 6:57, Richmondville at 7:29. Now, this thunderstorm has had history of gusty winds over 60 miles per hour, as well as heavy rain. Besides that one severe thunderstorm, we do have a line of some heavy rain from Old Forge all the way back to Hamilton. This rain will be moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. Put a track on that. We'll be in New Hartford at 6:05, Yorkville at 6:07, Utica at 6:09. It will continue to track closer to Herkimer as well as Little Falls. As we zoom out, this is pretty much it. This line of showers and thunderstorms will move through the region. We'll be done with by 8 o'clock tonight, and then we're looking for improving conditions. But again, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Otsego, southern Shenango, and Delaware County until 7 p.m. We'll give you the latest coming up in just a little bit. Nicole, back to you.
Jill, thanks. We are following some developing news out of Wisconsin. Police are investigating a shooting at a Sikh temple outside of Milwaukee this morning as an act of domestic terrorism. Witnesses say a white man dressed in black military-style clothing burst into the temple and opened fire. Federal authorities say the unidentified suspect had no known ties to organized groups, but the investigation is just beginning. The gunman died in a shootout with police, one of 7 people killed in the incident. Brian Moore has the story from Washington.
A gunman burst into a Sikh temple south of Milwaukee during a morning prayer service. And after firing on several victims, he died in a shootout with a police officer.
4 deceased inside of this temple and 3 deceased outside of the temple, one of whom is the shooter.
Police were summoned to the temple by a series of frantic 911 calls. Moments later, a veteran officer was in a deadly gunfight.
Our officer, a 20-year veteran, was ambushed, shot multiple times. He is currently at the hospital undergoing surgery. We expect him to recover. And another officer who was on scene was engaged by the suspect. Our officer did engage that individual, and that individual is deceased.
Witnesses say dozens of people, mostly immigrants from India's Punjab region, were attending a service at the time of the shooting. There might have been 3 times as many people there just a few hours later. After the gunfire ended, terrified temple-goers remained inside and in hiding, fearing there were additional gunmen.
My mother is one of them. She was hiding in the closet at the time, calling from her phone and shutting off the phone every time somebody would walk by.
But after SWAT officers searched the facility, they found no additional shooters. Outside the temple, the targets in this tragedy were asking, why them? Why here? Why now?
Biggest question we have, is this a hate crime? I mean, what did we do wrong?
In suburban Wisconsin, a crime that sent shockwaves around the world, a place of peace shaken by unspeakable violence. Brian Moore, NBC News.
Turning our attention to local news, state police are still trying to determine what caused an 80-year-old driver to run into and kill an 88-year-old woman who was getting mail from her mailbox. 88-year-old Olga Lastowicka was in front of her home when she was struck by a 2008 Ford Ranger pickup truck driven by 80-year-old Donald S. Coteri of Rome. Lastowicka was transported to Rome Hospital where she was pronounced dead. Her nephew, who had been caring for her, says his aunt was at the mailbox, not in the middle of the road, and believes the driver briefly looked down at the air conditioning and ran right into her. No tickets have been issued or charges filed against Coteri. Police say the investigation is continuing. Meanwhile, a Camden man was killed when he ran directly into the back of a stopped vehicle Saturday morning. Officials say a 2006 Chrysler driven by 80-year-old Leon Clement stopped in traffic to make a left-hand turn at Route 31. That's when she was struck from behind by a 2009 Pontiac being operated by 63-year-old Ronald Comans. Clement was transported to a hospital for minor injuries. Comans was pronounced dead at the scene. The investigation is continuing. Brand new at 6, a Verona woman is arrested after allegedly stabbing her boyfriend. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office says it all happened around 4 a.m. on Friday. 41-year-old Sean Marie Newman and her boyfriend were arguing when she allegedly stabbed him in his arm. The victim was transported to Oneida Hospital with a deep laceration to his right arm. Newman has been charged with assault in the second degree. And Utica police say they responded to a 911 call for an assault in the area of West and South Streets. Police say 36-year-old Heather Evans was arrested for allegedly stabbing her boyfriend in the arm. Evans has been charged with assault in the second degree, criminal possession of a weapon, and criminal possession of a controlled substance. Utica police are urging city residents to lock their car doors even in their own driveways. Police say a number of homeowners on Cedarbrook Crescent in North Utica had GPS units stolen early Saturday morning. According to officials, one homeowner saw 2 white males dressed all in black walking around that area around 4 a.m. Saturday. We talked to another victim who says enough is enough.
Before it was once in a while, up here, but now it's every, this is probably the second or third time in the, past 6 months. So something needs to be done up here for sure.
If you have any information on the North Utica break-ins, you are asked to call Utica Police at 223-3510. Still ahead here on News Channel 2 Weekend, Grow West is making headlines again, but the question on everyone's mind, what's going on with it? Also, the town of Lee was rocking in the park. We'll tell you more about it next. But first, we want to remind you, if you have a news story or you see news breaking, you can contact us anytime by email, phone, or through our Twitter and Facebook pages. You're watching News Channel 2 Weekend.
You're watching Central New York's most experienced news team with Nicole Hart, Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Jill Reel, and sports with Mike Levin. News Channel 2, where the news comes first. Listen to News Channel 2 at sunrise, noon, and the Live at 5 News Hour on 100.7 FM, WUTQ.
Welcome back. The Grow West investigation. Where do things stand? Well, that's what many Utica residents want to know, at least according to 2 members of Utica's Common Council. News Channel 2's Gary Liberatore has their story.
Councilman Zecca and myself.
Utica Common Council members Frank Becerra and Jim Zecca have been searching for justice regarding the debacle known as Grow West since it all came public more than 2 years ago.
Last week I contacted the FBI office here in the city to try to get an update on the actions of that office. Was told once again their stock answer is we can't comment on that.
You may recall the independent Hage report the city paid $177,000 for said that state and federal funding was misused by the nonprofit Grow West, which was created to disperse government funding to revitalize Utica's urban neighborhoods. Well, the full Hage report lists the civil lawsuits filed by the city against Grow West, contractors hired by Grow West, even their accountants. But to this day, no criminal charges have been filed against anyone.
Before this report was done, the FBI was in City Hall, stormed into City Hall, took computers, interviewed a lot of folks. In fact, we're getting some calls from people that have been involved in the Grow West, on the Grow West board, stating that they're very upset about the situation, that it's here over 2 years later, and nobody's been held accountable.
So now, for the 3rd straight year with no answers, these same 2 council members are going to bring the same resolution forward at Wednesday's Common Council meeting.
So asking the Common Council to support us in asking the New York Attorney General's office and the Office of State Comptroller to do an independent investigation based on all the information that is available, because we have not gotten any answers from anyone else, including, as Councilman Becerra said, the FBI.
Current Utica Mayor Robert Palmieri has been in office only 7 months and says he too would like some answers. but says action is taking place, and he doesn't believe the state will get involved while the FBI is still investigating. He says, quote, "The facts are the facts. The city is involved in civil lawsuits with Grow West and other entities involved, and the FBI has an ongoing investigation," end quote. He says he believes the answers will come in time. In Utica, Gary Libertor, News Channel 2.
Gary, thanks. It's billed as Central New York's premier car show, and it took place today in the town of Lee. Rockin' in the Park goes back 29 years and is put on annually by the Tapet Twirlers Automobile Club of Rome. Since its establishment in 1954, the club's motto has been safety, courtesy, and alliance. At today's car show, there was everything from antiques to hot rods, and the owners all have their own reasons for loving cars.
My father was a mechanic, airplane mechanic, and I was practically born in his 1965 Mustang Fastback on the way to the hospital. And my whole family's always been into Mustangs. We have Mustangs ourselves. We got 3 Mustangs.
Messina adds that all proceeds from today's car show will go to local charities, including the local food bank. Here's a live look at your Doppler radar. Jill's in next with your forecast. Keep it right here on News Channel 2 Weekend. But first, you are watching News Channel 2 Weekend. We are proud to serve Utica and all of Central New York. You've just gotten some new information to share with us.
Yeah, we do have a tornado warning to pass along to for extreme southern Otsego County into Delaware County. There's a tracker for you. 712 in Skenevis, 802 in Middleburg, 808 in Schoharie. Again, a tornado warning has been issued from the National Weather Service out of Binghamton for extreme southern Otsego County, south of Oneonta into northern Delaware County, traveling to the north and east at 30 miles per hour. Again, it is Doppler indicated, so no one has spotted a funnel cloud or a tornado on the ground, but it is favorable to produce a tornado. We'll have the latest for this on WKTV.com and our weather blog.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for us for now. You can always check us out online at WKTV.com or find us on Facebook and Twitter. We will see you back here after the Olympic coverage at midnight. See you then.